Good afternoon, VV Nation. Glenn Tompkins here. Welcome to Midday Market Action. Takes place every Monday here on our YouTube channel. I'm a senior instructor here at VectorVest, and man, hot off the heels from a very successful event that we had on Friday. Thank you guys for coming out to support the masterclass. If you can hear me, by all means, please type in the chat VV Nation to let me know that I am coming across loud and clear, folks. Again, a great group of presentations taking place on Friday. If you have not seen them, Joey, they are up on YouTube. Is that not correct?
Correct.
They are up on YouTube, so you guys check out our channel. We put a lot of content up there for you guys on a daily basis. But man, such a great reception from you guys. How many of you from the market, from the masterclass, how many of you are now brand new to the channel? Type a 1 in the room. If you are now brand new to the channel, especially because of the masterclass, I'd like to say a special hello to you folks. Type a 1 in the room if you're now part of the channel because of the masterclass. So I see all of my regular people that are in here. Thank you. And as you can see, we have a reach all around the world. Eton is tuning in from Israel. I've got Adrian tuning in from the Netherlands. I love that we have the reach that we do across the globe. Now, either my chat stopped or you stopped chatting. It was one of the two. I was trying to see how many of you were brand new from the channel, from the masterclass. I didn't see. Chris says 1, 2, or 3. Good to see you, Chris. I miss you, bro. I miss you. Chris was a member of our VectorVest team, but moved on. And I do miss you being here on a daily basis, my friend. 5-minute market timing, 3-8 cross the negative. We'll talk about that in a second. All right, so evidently nobody is here brand new from the masterclass. Wow. All right, just goes to show that it was our VV Nation that supported us. And man, so appreciative of that. I miss you too, Chris. Great event Friday, trying to convince more Danes. Hold on, I need the mouse. Convince more Danes to join VV Nation. Listen, the only way we get to grow is through word of mouth, through you guys, folks. So I always invite you. Right now, as a matter of fact, take a minute right now to share this live link on your social circles. Let's get some more people in the room. All right. So I wonder, did my alert not work? Interesting. Can you go double check that, Joey? That's interesting. The alert was set. Huh?
You probably set it for 2 o'clock.
Oh, today is Monday. And I'm not going to lie, I did set it for 2 o'clock. Son of a gun. Can you fix that? I did set it for 2. I'm so used to that. I know. BR says he got the alert. Maybe I did set it. I don't know. Can you? I can't hear you.
You got the YouTube alert, not the mobile notification.
Oh, they are getting the YouTube alert, not the... Well, no, that's what I said was the YouTube alert. But they're saying
different. There's 2 alerts to go out.
Okay. Can you resend the other one if I did, just to be on the safe side? Something tells me I might have set it for 12. I don't know. All right. So with that, let's get started. As you can see, looking at all of the major indices, they're all up today. As you can see that, they're all up today right now. In our color guard, we've got 3 yellow lights. Today could be a good up day in the market. All the major indices are up. We'll see what happens. All right, we'll see what happens. So let me start off by just getting into the market timing graph. This is the market over the, well, hold on. How about if I do this, Glenn? How about... Yeah, thank you, Joe. I was about to do that. Here's the market. Remember, the VectorVest composite tracks the movement of over 9,000 stocks. This is that movement of over 9,000 stocks, folks. And take me off the screen for a second, Joey, so they can see what's at the bottom. If you're looking, the market's doing a little bit of a sideways motion. We had a big up day a couple of days ago, so that must have been Wednesday. This is Thursday, this is Friday, and this is today. So even with the nice up day that we have today, the 3 hasn't crossed above the 8, number 1. Number 2, we haven't taken out last Wednesday's nice up day. So, I'm a big fan of not one day is not a trend, but this last one, we did not get a primary wave up. Let's go to the home page right now, and let's go see, dang it. Let's go see. Now we do have a primary wave up with today's up move. This is a little bit more of a telling sign. Last Wednesday's up day wasn't enough to move the market higher on a week-over-week basis. But today's up day is enough to give us into a primary wave. And thank you for that, Paul, as I looked to make me think about that. But nice big up day. The Dow is up 2%. The NASDAQ, all the other major indices are up as well. Could we get a green light tomorrow? The answer is we'll be working off September 27th. We could have a green light tomorrow as well. Now, let me get back to the market timing graph. Nice update today. The 3 and the 8 haven't closed up yet. We've got a little bit more work to say that we're in a sustainable uptrend. I can't call this a blast-off day, especially if I can't overtake last Wednesday's up day after going down for Thursday and Friday. The start of the midterms rally, stock time, maybe so. I think that we needed to see something to get us into some sort of a rally going into the midterms. And I think I thought that was going to happen regardless. But where's the news to sustain that stock time? Anybody? Anybody got? Where's the news to sustain that upward move in the market if that's the case? So I hear you, stock time, in regards to that, but I just don't know where the news is to drive it higher. I just don't see it just as of yet. But the market is the market. The market is going to do what the market's going to do no matter what we think. But I'd really like to see the 3 and the 8 cross to the upside before I start taking this rally and looking at it as a rally. Oil stocks are up, and I'm going to talk about why that is in a second. So wanted to see what was going on in the market so that you can get a feel of what's going on today and how it's going to affect your trading. In my trading, my personal portfolio, I did get out of my contras. I made money on them. Today was going to be a day, if it looks like it's going to stay this way, was going to kill those profits. I took my profits off the table. I'm still in oil, and I'm happy about it today. So we'll see. So Lou, I will talk about that in a second. And Stock Time says there is no good news. And silver is another trade that I'm in as well, Richard. Even though I'm not real bullish on gold and silver yet, and we're going to talk about that as well. And even though I'm not really bullish on gold and silver yet, but I'm going to look at the moves on them, and I will take some short-term profits on them if they give them to me. So, Richard, I hear you. All right, let's now get into my news for today, and let's talk about what's going on in the market from that perspective. Economy the week ahead, U.S. job market and trade in focus. So we're going to start with, oops, who did that? What is that? Was that for me?
No.
Hold on. Let me move. I think you were giving me that anyway. Let me put that over here. So now I should have my Facebook chat, and I do. All right. Let me keep on moving. Halal is here. Hamid is here. Awesome. Glad to have you on Facebook. So the economy for the week ahead. Today was the Global and Institutional Institute of Supply Management, blah, 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 blah. Tuesday. Tomorrow, the Labor Department releases August data on job openings, quits, hires, and layoffs. I think layoffs are going to start showing that they are moving up. Down from a record of 11.9 million in March, but still historically elevated. The ratio of job openings to unemployed people seeking to come back to work are 2-to-1. Wednesday, Commerce Department reports trade deficit. The trade gap in goods and services shrank by 12% from the prior month, driven by weaker demand for imports. Why do we have weaker demand for imports? Because our dollar is so strong. All right. Well, that actually would affect exports, but maybe we're not bringing in stuff because people ain't going to spend money on it, which had dropped for 2 straight months. Thursday, European Union's statistic agencies release August figures on retail sales. All right, so retail sales are going to be in focus on Thursday, and then on Friday, the jobless rate rose to 3.7% in August from the half-century low of 3.5%. So the jobless rate is starting to creep up a little bit, and that is, most likely what you call the straw that broke the camel's back when it comes down to recession. Job market is still strong. Job market, people still looking for jobs. Now, it's interesting as I talk about that because my next story is, why are companies still hiring when GDP is shrinking? A lot of little bits and pieces of information that I want you to still to take away from this. The labor market is tight on high inflation, fears of recession. The GDP slipped. It's still in negative territory. The Federal Reserve boosting the interest rates are affecting that. Many employers say they continue to struggle with large staffing shortages that built up through the pandemic and are reluctant to cut the headcount. That's why people are holding on to people, whether they want to or not. It's because they don't want them to get away, or if they're already having problems staffing people. All right, let's scroll down a little bit more. Some economists say that the scars of the past year's shortage, including the huge expenses of hiring and recruiting. Why? Because of inflation, companies are having to raise wages to get people to come to work, combined with high employer turnover, could leave companies more hesitant to lay off workers. There's the little breadcrumb that's there. People don't want to get rid of people because it's hard to find new people. If you follow me on Twitter at Glenn Tompkins Jr., if you follow me on Twitter, every so often I keep tweeting out people who are companies that are starting to lay off people. The layoffs should start to really ramp up as we get later and later into the year. And I still think that by the end of the year, with what's going on, the Fed's going to pull the carpet from everybody and keep raising interest rates. That's just my opinion, folks. That's just my opinion. But if inflation continues to rise the way that it is, or even scale back a little bit, but not by that much, the Fed is going to remain hawkish on the market. How about this? You can't lay off what you didn't hire. Some large companies, including Goldman Sachs, Wayfair, Snap, have recently announced or signaled layoffs, but they are outnumbered by the companies saying that the labor shortages are crimping sales and productions. Domino's Pizza said the same store sales inclined. When you get to a point where pizza companies are having a problem, that's a problem, because what is the most ordered stuff I still think out there as far as fast food? I think it's pizzas. I think it's pizza. And if the pizza market is being affected, that's telling you something. So there are some reasons why people are still hiring or holding on to people, because they're afraid to get rid of the people that they have. But if you're a company and your bottom line is being affected and you have to be accountable to the investors, what are you going to do? You're going to cut the fat, and most likely the fat is going to be coming from people that you have employed. All right. There's more upside than downside for long-term investors. Now, this is an optimistic story about what's going on. Now, as I look at this story, the Federal Reserves continue to reiterate the central bank hawkish stance despite falling stock prices and the risk of a recession. All right? As we go down here, we do, however, know that there's a long history of events that rocked the markets and shocked the economy. And we also know that the markets and economy eventually emerged stronger. Interesting, right? 2007, 2008, big hit in the market. What did the market do? It fell and then went up to historic all-new highs. After the pandemic, what happened? The market fell and it rose and went where? To historic new highs. Are we going to do that again after what we're going through right now with a recession? Possibly, but I don't 100% know. But if you look at it from history's perspective says that we're going to rebound and we are going to be better than ever. So this is a feel-good, optimistic story in regards to what's going on in the market right now. I am not new, but I like to be brand new every day, says Hamid on Facebook. I like that. Big story. How many of you have heard of what's going on with Credit Suisse? Type of 1 in the room. How many of you have heard of what's going on with Credit Suisse? Type of 1 in the room. And this is big news because the EU had to go bail out what was going on. This is This is big stuff right here. Credit Suisse almost going belly up. And Patrick feels that it could be a global thing that affects markets globally. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that on Afternoon Market Action on Wednesday when Patrick and I are here. But why are Credit Suisse shares sliding today? U.S.-listed Credit Suisse shares are sliding close to 5% pre-market trading as traders fret over the bank's financial health. Where does that sound familiar? Oh, the home crisis. Yeah, remember that? And what happened with that? We said that, well, we're not going to go through that again, right? We're never going to go through that again. And we put a whole bunch of stuff into perspective. But what happened? The Swiss bank's credit default swaps. Where have we heard that term before? The cost of insuring the company's bonds against default spiked sharply on Friday to levels seen in 2019. This sets tongues wagging about the Lehman-like collapse. Folks, that's big. When you start seeing something like this being associated with what happened to Lehman, that makes you stand up and say, holy smokes, what's going on? Paul says Credit Suisse is always in trouble with law enforcement. Richard says Chinese banks are also having problems. And Patrick thinks that eventually it can get to us as well. I hope not. I hope that we learned from our past experiences and we don't let that whole mortgage thing happen all over again. But you know something? It's starting overseas. Could it make its way here? Thomas says in EU, it is top of mind. In Denmark's banks went down sharply. So this is why I had to put this story in today, because I need you guys to be aware of possibly it getting over to us. I hope it does not. I hope we have enough stop gaps in place that it doesn't happen to us. All right. Another big story, oil. How about this? OPEC mulling largest cuts since 2020. Well, with the fall of oil, because of demand, I think most likely from the demand, from gas prices and all that kind of stuff, OPEC's hurting. They ain't making as much money as they used to. So they're going to cut production to hopefully raise oil prices. How many of you are playing oil stocks right now? I know I am. I'm in WTI. I'm going to raise my hand. I'm in WTI. How many of you, and I've been talking vigorously about oil. I still think that you guys know, your Uncle Glenn has been saying I've been long on oil for a minute. It's just been a tough place to be with the pullback in oil. But could oil now be setting up, especially with the cut, especially with the depletion of our reserves, could oil be setting up for a major blast off? Is that the oil? Is that boost the oil price in Habtamu? I think it will boost oil prices. How many of you out there think that's the case? Type of me in the room. I think it's pretty evident that if they cut back on production, it's going to drive the price of oil higher. And yeah. Now gold, Lou, I just did a story on gold on the page. I just on our site, on our YouTube channel. I still don't think it's the right time for gold, but if the dollar falls, and remember that was the main crux of that video, is the correlation between the dollar and gold. In order for gold to start moving up, the dollar has to start getting weaker. And it's not there yet, Lou. It's not there yet. Even though I am playing a silver play right now, because I'm going to take that as a short-term tactical move, not a long-term strategic move, but as a short-term play, I am looking at a couple of gold stocks. It will be short-term. But for gold to start moving up long-term, the dollar has to weaken, and that hasn't happened yet. I need that to happen. Cody says, it's all about inventories and on oil futures contracts. I believe about that. Stephanie, if silver is moving, SLV might be a definitely good play. Richard says silver is up 7.8%. I'm in a silver play. I forget which play. I think it's not POS. I'm in a different FSM. And what's that? First Silver? Anybody? I'm in FSM. I am in that silver play. I'm in that. It's got a name. I forget. FSM. Yeah. What's the name of the company? What's the name of that's the ticker. I'm in that play right now because I saw the big bump. But remember, that's a tactical move for me. It's a short-term play. I'm still not fully all on board on gold and silver yet. All right, not yet. Fortuna, thank you, Ralph. That's what it is. I'm in Fortuna. All right, I'm not in it long-term yet. I still am not bullish on gold, but I will play the short-term play, especially knowing that it's up nicely today and possibly it'll roll over until at least tomorrow. We'll see going forward. All right, next one. Next one is Tesla. Q3 deliveries fell short. Interesting, because the stories coming out of Tesla, as you would have happened, said that they were going to meet it. They didn't. They fell short. They fell short of the estimates. Deliveries of 343,000 vehicles. However, it fell short of its estimates, about 364. Listen, that's a lot of freaking cars in Q3. All right. But the street said, no, you're supposed to put out 364. That's, something I hate when that happens. When a company pushes to put out that many cars, it's over 250,000 cars, and then you fall short, you're going to get smacked for it. It is what it is, but Tesla shares are going down big today, and that's because they missed the expected amount of deliveries that were supposed to come out in Q4. Now, talking about that as well, when we get to Tesla, how about this? EV and self-driving stocks fell nearly 15% in September, their second worst month on record. Now, I kind of feel bad because I've been still talking up the EV space all this time. All right, and now the stocks are starting to fall. How many of you are playing EV stocks type of 1? If you're not playing EV stocks type of 2, how many of you are trading EV stocks type of 1 if you're not trading EV stocks type of 2? I still like this space. I like this space for the opportunity of you guys to be able to make money on these stocks. A lot of people are not playing these stocks. And you know something? I think that for a lot of people, I think that they're kind of ticked that the government is pushing us into this mode. I don't disagree with that, of trying to buy these expensive cars. I've done a couple of videos on EVs. Yes, I think that it's a lot more money out of pocket up front, but I think long-term for the purposes of maintaining them, EVs are still less expensive until you got to buy a battery. Until you got to buy a battery, batteries are going to cost you $20,000 and plus to buy a new battery. But they are covered under a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty on just about every one of these cars. So God forbid something happens before you get to that 100,000, you can trade it in and get another one. What's my favorite EV stock? I'm a Tesla fan. I am not a big NIO fan, but I am a big Xroth fan as well. I know it's not actually electric vehicles, but it's going to be part of that space. It's definitely going to be part of that space. I do like Lucid. I think that Lucid is the only other vehicle out there that can compete with Tesla as far as range is concerned. And then you've got Rivian and, but if I'm looking at Tesla, I'm looking at Lucid, I'm looking at Rivian. If I'm going to talk about my favorites, those are three that I really, really like. Battery costs the environment big time. So I did a story on that too, Sonny, and it's not as bad as what most people think it is. Go check out my video, and I do cover the environmental side of the EV cars. If you haven't checked that out, please check that out, Sonny. I did cover that, and it's not as bad as what everybody thinks it is. It's not as bad as what everybody thinks it is. And Stock Times says 44% of U.S. electricity is coal-fired. No, it is more like 60%. I did a story on that too. About 60% of electricity comes out of coal. So you're getting clean energy from dirty coal. I know. I know. And a lot of people sit back and go, you're crazy, Glenn. It is what it is. It is what it is. And talking about the grid for charging these cars are not there yet, but the money is definitely going out to the states to shore up the EV grid for charging. All right. So I wanted to bring that story out. And one more, as far as energy is concerned, investors are buying up Devon Energy. That's going to be one of my stocks that I'm going to look at today. So those are all of the stories that I have behind the news today. And now let's get into the software. Let's get into the software. Shut up. Oh my gosh, why does Siri do that? Let's go to the Viewers tab. Here's the indices. Let's start off with the indices. Coal is reliable and plentiful, but Paul's is dirty. That's the tag that it's got. It's dirty. Need more power plants. In stock time, I am with you. I think from the power plant, I still think we need to concentrate more on nuclear energy. And now hydrogen is coming into the picture as far as hydrogen cars. There's a lot of different alternatives out there as far as coal. You got wind, you got solar, and all of those different things. I am not a proponent for climate change. That's not my deal. I'm not into that, whether good, bad, or indifferent. But I do like the idea of having alternatives to fossil fuels, because at some point in time, folks, there's a reality that it's going to all run out. Now, whether it's years, centuries, whatever, at some point in time, we're going to run out of the fossil fuels. Do you know that OPEC, the biggest producer of oil, we've got more oil on in our land than they do over there? So at some point in time, their oil is going to run out too, and it's going to be a lot quicker than ours. And I think that depending on what goes on in our government, we're going to still be the major exporter for oil at some point in time again. All right. So nuclear, natural gas. I'm all about natural gas as well. Don't forget LNGs, major shift to LNGs, liquid nitrogen gas. There's a lot of other alternatives out there. I'm with you on that. And gas is plentiful. All right. And I'm with you on all of that. But if we look at the indices, the VIX is down. We're still over 20. So we still have a lot of volatility in the market overall. The UVIXY, that's an ETF. But here's the Dow, the Russell, the S&P, and the Qs are all up nicely today. Nicely all up today. Big news. Here's the news that I had on the stocks today out of those stories as it pops up. There's oil, and then there's Devon. Notice that if I look at these by VST, our master indicator for ranking stocks, look at the two that are at the top right now, oil and energy. Tesla, with the big move to the downside, is number 3 as far as VSC. Looking at the whole industry of the EV space, I like the ETF KARS, KARS. It's only up close to 1% today, but that's the major move of the market. Remember, the direction of the market normally affects about 80% of the stocks in the market. And there's Credit Suisse. Even with the bad news on the stock, look at the stock's price going up as well. But notice that Tesla, KARS, and Credit Suisse are all sell recommendations. The two best that have the best combination of value and safety, relative value, relative safety, actually, WTI and DVN don't have good safety, but they have good upside potential. And they are in an uptrend right now. Again, I still want to say out there, keep your eyes on oil. Let's go take a look at these stocks on a graph. Right click, view the stock graph. Let's peep these out real quick. Put it on the 3-month graph. Is oil on the rise? Let the graph tell you, because the graph is a picture worth 1,000 words. Look at that. The 3 and the 8 just crossed on WTI, coming off of this level of support of $4.98. I like that move. But even prior to the 3.8, the stock had bounced off this level of support and slowly but surely moving higher. Bill says, I'm holding Tesla, Glenn. I have November 18 contracts. What do you think? I think that when we do get to a point where we're looking at Tesla, I'll better be able to answer that question. Google says we have 50 years of oil, 53 years of natural gas, and 114 years of coal. Interesting. So we got more coal than anything. We got twice the amount of time for coal than we have for oil and natural gas. That's an interesting bit of information. Thank you for that, Bill. Interesting, huh? All right, so let's go down to Devon Energy. Again, another stock, bounce off a level of support. The 3 and the 8 just crossed. You know how much I like the 3 and the 8, and I love to pay attention to when it first crosses on any stock. Keep your eyes on those. So all the time I've been talking about oil is going down, going down. Now between oil and Devon Energy, the 3/8 cross. Now you may need to stand up a little bit and go, hey, oil might be on the move now for real, for real. If it's on the internet, it must be true. I didn't say that, Mark, but that's in. Don't be messing, Mark. Bill took the time to go find that information. All right? Don't be messing. Don't be messing. All right. Let's go to the next stock, Tesla. So now you ask me about Tesla. Tesla, actually went through 2 points of concern for me. It went through a level of support sitting at 264.98 and went through a level of support sitting at 255.60 and a big down day today. Right now, I'm going to tell you that it's probably not a good time to be in Tesla. Does that make sense, Bill? And you know something, if you have a stock like Tesla and you're still holding it, this is why having some semblance of a stop in mind is important. Notice that it just went through our stop price because it's now got a sell recommendation on a 3-month graph. All right, they need to start working on safe ways to harbor hydrogen fuel energy. So Rhino, if you scour the internet, hydrogen vehicles are coming into the conversation along with electric vehicles. So there is some talk about that. But the bad thing is it's the association with the name hydrogen. When you hear hydrogen, what's the first thing you think about? Bomb. It's the first thing you think about. So I think that they are working on better ways to harness hydrogen for hydrogen cars or hydrogen energy. They are working on that, Rhino. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But from a Tesla perspective, this is a hard time to be in Tesla, and breaking through 2 solid levels of support is not good news. Does that make sense, Bill Tortorella? Does that make sense? So I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to show you what's going on. What's going on? Plug, I still like Plug as a good stock. I'm still bullish on Plug, but it may be tough on that as well. Unless you're holding puts on Tesla, is absolutely right. Unless you're holding puts on Tesla, it's tough right now. Just be careful with that. Cars, as much as I like the space, here's the ETF on it. And overall, even though I like the Lucids, the Teslas, the Rivians, the industry as a whole, folks, is getting pummeled. So now what's going to move this industry higher is if more and more of these companies can come through and perform as far as producing the cars. Tesla's doing it, just not at the rate that the street wants to see it. But 364,000 or 40,000 vehicles in 1 quarter is a lot of cars. So Paul says hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. Well, but can we control it so it don't blow up, Paul? That's the big thing. I've been following the hydrogen energy since the late 90s. Needs to be very safe, but it's definitely another alternative. And Rhino, I'm with you on that. I'm right along with you on that. Absolutely. What else is in this list? Credit Suisse, big hit. And prior to the news, even prior to the news that came out, Credit Suisse was in trouble. All right, the 3 was below the 8. This is on a 3-month graph. Even with today's up day, a little bit of buying pressure coming in with the big wick at the bottom. Keep your eyes on that whole situation, folks. I want you to be aware of that. All right, next one. Earnings for this week. Let's see what's going on. We start up earnings, right? But I've only got a few stocks that are reporting this week or have already reported today. Acuity, Constellation Brands, Conagra, Levi, Nova Gold is reporting this week or already reported, McCormick and Tilray, a weed stock. But notice that all of these stocks that report this week are all nicely up today. All right, the smallest mover is Conagra. It's only up about 0.2%. But for the most part, these companies that are reporting this week, one that I really like is Constellation Brands with a relative safety above 1, nicely above 1. I feel really confident that they should meet or exceed earnings. Now, the only other thing that will affect these stocks adversely is the forward guidance. With the rising interest rates affecting these companies' ability to do business, the forward guidance may not be bad. And I think that this is going to be a quarter where companies will meet or exceed their earnings expectations, but they are going to be affected by forward guidance because of rising interest rates. So I think that that's going to be a recurring theme for this quarter's reporting for earnings. Does everybody agree with that or disagree with that? Type a 1 if you agree with that assessment, type a 2 if you don't. And again, the assessment is, I think that many companies are going to report positive earnings, but because of forward guidance, that it's going to affect the company's ability to rise, the stock's price to rise. I think that that's going to be big for this quarter. Not only that, I think that that jobs are going to, the unemployment rate is going to start to rise as well, especially if they start cutting off people and they're going to be putting people into unemployment. I think that that's going to happen as well. So this quarter, even though it's an election cycle and we're looking at November, a lot of things are, meshing up for us, and I still think by the end of the year, we get worse before we get better. How many of you think we do get worse before we get better? Type a me or a no. Type a me or a no. How many of you think that we still get worse before we get better? Type a me. If you don't think we get worse before we get better, type a no. All right, come on, folks. I want to have the conversation because these conversations need to be had. All right, you look at the YouTube channel and everybody wants to talk about this stock, that stock. Here, between Patrick and I, we really want to get a feel of what you guys feel and how you feel because we put our channel out for you guys. So I see the me's coming and Mark says no. All right, and that's fine. There's not a right or wrong answer. It's a question that I'm asking. It's not a right or wrong answer. It is a question. And by the way, Mark, I'm going to put you on blast because you're the only one that said no. The only one, Mark. Sigh, are you trolling me? You're the only one that said no. Does Mark know something that we don't know? Inquiry minds want to know. I want to know. All right, Tyree says till inflation goes down. And you know something? Is inflation really going down or are we really denting inflation? Inflation is still at 40-year highs. And that's what's keeping the Fed hawkish. All right. And they need the room before inflation falls and they need to quantitatively ease. They need some room. And they're trying to get to that 4.1 or 4.25 to 4.75 rate so that they have some room to pull back. But even at that 4.25 to where we are, we're still low on interest rates. I think people still lose sight of that. We're still low on interest rates. All right, so just keep that out there. Won't with a strong dollar, or won't a strong dollar hurt us in the third quarter? So Thomas, the strong dollar just means that it makes it tough for us to be able to sell our product to other people because the dollar is so strong. But with the rising interest rates, it's going to keep that. With the monetary tightening, the dollar is going to gain momentum. It's going to gain momentum. All right. So that was to answer your question, Thomas. I don't think anymore, says Renee. No, you got to think. You still got to think. Nope. I don't want to hear that. That's why we do. That's why we have this channel. We want you guys to be able to make better decisions. All right. That's exactly why we do what we do. Do you feel the market will be up end of the year? I think after again, this is Glenn's opinion. I think that after the midterm elections, that the market goes down into the end of the year and going into the beginning of next year. That's what I think. The strong dollar hurts Denmark, says Lee. I hear you. Inflation will start being reduced in March 2023. Jerome is going to make everyone cry. But you know something? I take my hat off to Jerome Powell because he said that the monetary policy he was getting ready to get into was going to cause the economy pain. He was transparent in that fact. Even though he was silly in saying that inflation was transparent, he was smart in the fact that he said, what I'm doing right now is going to cause the economy pain. That was transparent. That was very transparent. And to a certain degree, I think it's baked in, but the market still doesn't want to see it. And the market's going to respond to what's going on every time we get that raise in the interest rates. All right, fastest moving industries. Now, this is going to be interesting. I'm going to go to the Unisearch tool. We're going to go to Delta Search's industries. And I have a search in here. Looking at the 221 industries that we track, I wanted to see what the relative timing, the short-term price trend, was on 10 days ago, what the relative timing was on relative timing was at that time. All right, where was it sitting? What was the change in relative timing? And then looking at now, current 10 days, is it increasing or decreasing from the last 10 days? So ETFs, commodities futures. 10 days ago, it had a delta of 16. The relative timing had changed by 16%. And guess what? We're increasing on that. We're now up to 21%. That's a rising industry. Gold, silver. A lot of you are bullish on gold and silver. How about this? 10 days ago, it had a change in relative timing of 9.5%, and over the last 10 days, it's increased. So gold and silver is on the rise. I'm not saying that I'm fully bullish on it yet because of the strong dollar, but from a rising industry perspective, it is rising over the last 10 days. Look at ETF shorts. This was the hottest thing going. How about it starting to lose some momentum with today's action? There was a delta of 23% on relative timing 10 days ago. The current 10 days is only 13.68%. So ETF shorts are losing some momentum. How many of you are still in your contra ETFs right now? Type of 1 in the room. How many of you are in your contra ETF still? If you've closed out of your contras, type of 2. All right, if you're still holding contra ETFs right now, type of 1. If you've already closed out of your contras, type of 2. I've closed out of my contras. Now, anyone who's holding contras, I'm watching the number 1 pop up. If you're still holding contras, that means that you still have a bearish feel of the market long term. Let me go back to the market timing graph. Do I disagree with you? The answer to that is no. The answer is we're still in a downtrend. But on a day like today, especially if you're trading leverage contra ETFs, you're going to get hurt. So those people who did type that they're still in their contras, all I want you guys to do is be aware that you might want to take profits on those contras and not give it all back. For everyone who typed a 1 in the room, does that make sense to you? Type a yes or a no. For anyone who's still holding their contras, what I just said, does it make sense? I don't want you to give it all back. The downtrend in the market is still there. But if we are getting ready to have a little bit of a bounce, I don't want you to give it all away, all right? That's just, and you know something, if you close it and the market continues to go down, you can get back in and get it in at a lower price, all right? So just think about that. Better advice for you as a VV coach, take profits along the way. I'm big on that, folks. Don't, with a day like today or a day like Wednesday, you're going to get hurt in those contras. So let me give you this. If you're a VectorVest subscriber, I'm going to give you a line in the sand. If you're still holding them, I'm going to give you a line in the sand to absolutely get out of those contras. See this level of 51.69? If the VectorVest composite breaks above that, which was a gap down price right here, if we get, for those of you who are still holding, again, I still like the idea because the market's going down. But if the VectorVest composite gets to a level of 51.69, you need to close them out. Does that make sense, folks? All right. But a recession might last until July 23. I agree. And I'm with you on that, Richard. I just don't want you to lose bigly on those contras on these rebound days. And right now, look at this, 2 rebound days. But here's a level of getting out at 51.69 on the VectorVest composite. Does that make sense, Richard? So yeah, we could have a recession that lasts a while. But short term, again, tactically from your strategic play, tactically, if we get above that level of 51.69, you guys probably need to get out. And probably what will happen by that time too is the 3 will cross above the 8. All right, that both things happening at the same time, don't want you to get caught out there. But I also don't want you to feel that you've got to hold them. Don't be afraid to take profits on those stocks. All right, let's get back to my viewers. So that's the fastest moving sectors, industries that are going on right now. Let's go back to my watch list viewer. I'm already here. Industry ETFs. Where's the money going today? This not a market to be long term. It's all over the place, says Lee. And that's because of the VIX. The VIX is telling us that as well. The market's got a lot of volatility. I agree with you, Lee. All right, where's the money going today? Let's go. Here's my watch list of ETFs all around the whole spectrum of playing the market. Energy is up today. Copper, I'm on those commodities. Copper is up. Oil is up. Uranium is up. I'm still playing uranium, actually playing URA. What else? Gold is rising today. The financials are rising today. The only thing going down today is natural gas. Lithium is even up, not a lot, but up. So I'm trying to cover the full spectrum of the market to give us a feel of where the money's going. Glenn, help me to understand. I am new with this downturn. Should we not be talking about puts? We can, Peter. But you know, not everybody in our channel plays options. So I talk about them, but I talk about them sparingly. I am thinking about bringing Ron Wheeler on for one of my Trending Thursdays for an hour-long discussion about options where you guys can ask him questions. All right, so I don't talk a lot about options in here, Peter, for that reason. But I'm thinking, what do you guys think? Should I bring Ron on for a good open discussion on options? Type a yes or a no in the room. Type a yes or a no. But I got to get his schedule so that we can do this on a Trending Thursday. I think that would be a great Trending Thursday topic to have Ron come on and at least have an open conversation with you guys about options, especially for those of you who are not very adept in options. And Eton, you're right. Ron is great at when he talks about options, he makes it very simple to understand. Thank you, Joey. He makes it really simple to understand. So I think that if we can get our schedules aligned, one of our Trending Thursdays in the near future will be a generalized options conversation. Does it matter when you pay attention to the market intraday or majority during the opening and closing? Night. I'm of the mindset we can do either or. I can go to the market timing graph and look at it intraday 1 minute. I'll put on 5-minute bars, and I can see that when we came on about 12ish or so, the market had dipped and it's now dipping more. Now it all depends, Night. Are you a day trader or are you a longer term investor? The day trader is more of the tactical person. I'm going to start using that term, those two terms, tactical and strategic, a little bit more, because I think that will put a little bit of an understanding on which way you want to go. Tactical is what's going on today and taking advantage of today. And then when I want to look at strategic, now I'm looking at a longer term. Longer term, strategically, the market is down. The market is down. But tactfully, today we had an opportunity to make money. Does that make sense, Knight? So it all depends on what you're trying to do at the time. Apple is rising. I'm not in Apple just quite yet right now. Apple's got to show me a little bit more before I pull the trigger on it. All right, let's go back to the viewers tab. So we know where the money is going. My speculative plays, I always put out speculative plays for those people who are a little bit more aggressive in the market. Normally, the relative value and relative safeties are all below 1, but they're moving up in price. Here's some speculative plays I want you to keep your eyes on. View the stock graph. Put these on a 1-month graph. Look at the move. Now, WFRD was hitting a new 1-month high, but look at the profit taking going on with it. Be careful with it. I like the move, that the 3-8 cross, but today is a little bit of shooting star. It could be a reversal. Looking at TBFX, nice new high over the last month. Closed candle. The stock price jumped up or gapped up this morning. A little bit of profit taking here, but I do like that the 3-8 cross, new high, again, a speculative play. Now, CNCE, I liked it earlier, but man, look at that selling pressure. I thought it was going to have an opportunity to break through this 1-month high of 715, but it's pulled back. Be careful with this one as a speculative play. It's a drug company as well. Same thing with CYTK. A lot of these stocks are drug companies that I was looking at, and right now not panning off. Just a couple of them. DTM, I thought that we were going to get the 3-8 crossover right at this level of resistance, sitting at the level of 53.94. I would wait on that one. Remember, this is more of an aggressive play, right? And now I'm not feeling this one at all. This is definitely pulling down. All right, last thing. Today's big movers. What stocks are up at least 10% today? Let's go check this out. Not all of them. I still want to see what stock. Wow. Big move on these stocks. All of these stocks were supposed to have been up about 10%. Look at the pullbacks. Look at the pullbacks. Only 2 stocks up over 10%. This is why I say be careful at finding those stocks that move up and you jump on board, because look at all of the give back. Every one of these stocks was above 10% at one point in time today, but look at the give back. So be careful on those big movers. Glenn got the 60-day trial. How about Ccrm? Hold on. Biotech Stocks. Write these down or take a picture, whatever. I just want you to be aware. A lot of these have catalyst phase 3 catalysts about to hit. And the reason why I provide you with these biotech companies, because a lot of times you see a biotech just go up 100, 200%, and you miss out on them. I'm at least giving you heads up on some of these stocks that are ready to rock and roll based on phase 3 catalysts. All right, so at least take a picture, write them down, whatever you need to do. I want you to keep your eyes on these stocks. I've got 2 other things that I want to show. Most bought stocks, just what's out there as most bought stocks. And here's 10 of them. It was 10. I took one off. Ccrm. And look at what they're doing today. Out of the 9 stocks, 7 of the 9 stocks are going up. Tesla is a most bought stock. Apple nicely moving up today. AT&T, Amazon, NEO is getting hit. So I want you to keep your eyes on these stocks. This is what's out there as far as the other people, investors in the market, like you guys. These are some of the most widely bought stocks in the current markets scenario right now. A lot of these have relative safeties over 1, and a lot of these are undervalued. A lot of these are going to be value plays. 230. Well, not all of them. Holy smokes. Never mind. They're not all undervalued. Actually, more of them are overvalued than anything. So these are probably more growth-like plays. Relative values are above 1. So here's a listing of the 9 most bought stocks. And then I want to add something else. Where are the hedge funds putting in these? The majority of them are, Robert, or close to them. It's either phase 2 or phase 3. Most of them are phase 3. How about knowing what the big money is getting into? Thoughts on Tesla's move down today? Michael, it's because they missed their expectation of delivery of cars. And right now, not only did it fall, it fell through 2 levels of support. I'm not feeling it right now. I'm not feeling buying it right now. All right, but now there's another side of that, Michael, that maybe it's been pushed down enough that people will look at it as a stock that's on sale. All right, that's one way of looking at it, but it's got to show me something before I'm ready to jump back on it. But right now, not only did they miss in their projections of cars, but it went through 2 levels of support. That's not a good sign for it. So that's what I'm going to answer as far as that's concerned, Michael. So big money is getting into PG&E, Buckle, Bank of America, New Holdings, Altria, Twitter. Interesting that the big money is picking up Twitter. Las Vegas Sands, Coupang, Uber, and Shopify. 10 of the biggest the biggest companies that hedge funds are getting into. One last thing, featured watch list. I didn't put anything in it. I was going to do something. I forgot what I was going to do, but I didn't put anything in it. I will look at Ccrm. I'll look at that real quick. You're welcome, Michael. Ccrm up 9%, good upside, good safety. I like the stock. The stock's trading at 31 of value. It's undervalued. View the stock graph. I don't know what news is on the stock. The stock is moving up nicely. So strategically, the stock is moving up right now, sitting at a level of the daily high. This is on 5-minute bars. Put this on a 1-month graph. I like the move. It's now on a nice 1-month high, nice open candle, very little wick at the top. It's on a 3-month high. It's on a 6-month high. I love that with all of this. It's moved out of this 6-month level of resistance of 30.49. I like it. That's a big open candle with very little give back. That's a nice move on that stock. All right, Joey, put me on my end page. All right, folks. So I covered a lot of stocks for you today, but I also covered a lot of news of what's going on as well. Sigh, I don't know where Joey went. Let me see if I can do this. Actually, can I just, no, I don't want to do that. Dang it, Joey. Where'd you go? Is this the one I want? Nope. That's the one I want. All right. There you go. If you liked what you saw today, folks, don't forget to hit the like button. Hopefully you got an opportunity to share this out with your friends and things like that, folks. I am a big fan of you guys trying to help us out. What is the earnings per share? The EPS VV indicator showing earnings per share is at $2.87. It's got a growth of 44%. I like it. There's nothing that I don't like about Ccrm. There's nothing that I don't like, and I like the big open candle. The 3/8 crossed about 4 days ago and broke through a level of resistance today, hitting a new 6-month high. There's nothing that I don't like about the stock. Now, with a nice move like today, what'll happen, that level that I gave you of resistance that it broke through, which was 30.49, it probably will be tested as a level of support. It will probably test it as a level of support. Roger says, sorry I'm late. Can you start all over? No, Roger. But thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. All right. How many likes did we get? 80? You know me. I like to always try to get 100 likes. If we don't, we don't. That's fine. But especially for those people who are new, if you found this interesting, found it useful, not interesting, but useful, don't forget to hit the like button on the way out, folks. Just do that for me. Hit the like button on the way out. If you're brand new and you haven't subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so that you'll be alerted. Glenn, which stocks are you in? I don't have my account open right now. I'm in WTI. I'm in URA. I'm in XROF. I'm in that silver stock FSM. I think those are the only stocks that I'm in right now. I think that that's the only stocks that I'm in right now. I got some money sitting on the sideline because I did pull off my Contras, which I had a lot of money in Contras. I took, and I got profits on those, so I took those off, so it freed up some money. But I believe those are the only 4 stocks that I'm currently in right now. All right. What are we up to? 101 likes. Thank you, folks. That's what I love. I love it. I love it. All right, I got to go. Thank you for being here for Midday Market. Join Patrick and I on Wednesday for afternoon market action. And then I'll also be back on Trending Thursday on Thursday. So with that, folks, adios, arrivederci, ciao, au revoir, sayonara, aloha to all my peeps in Hawaii. My prayers still go out to those people who are in Florida, who are still having the effects of Hurricane Ian. Bom dia, salam, shalom, namaste, yasu. Until the next time, folks, see ya.